Yo, what going on, big fam? It's your dog, the Ultra Melonite, coming to you live and direct once again from Charleston, South Carolina, aka the Holy City, you dig me? And today we're going to discuss the origin of one of these racial slurs, the origin of the word coon, C-O-O-N, you dig? So let's start off with a little question to y'all. Have you ever been called a coon? What comes to your mind when you hear the word coon? If somebody was walking through the crowd and just started shouting coon, how would you feel? You know, it's real deep how words have a great effect on our vibrational standing, our emotional well-being. Words play hard on us whether you want to admit it or not. Just by saying a certain word like coon has a certain effect on people, right? So we here at the village like to break down the origin of these words because we know that these words are powerful. When breaking down this word coon, the first thing that we got to realize is that it's a shortened form of the word raccoon. A raccoon is an animal that's native to the Americas, right? So we know that the so-called black folks, the so-called indigenous brothers in Africa are not being called coons. There's no coon in Africa, right? So that just tells you right there that that's something that the English and the Spanish had to adapt once they got to the Americas. It's a word that's native to the Americas. It's actually an indigenous word that they adopted and phoneticized or romanticized, or however you want to put it, right? So that's the first thing in breaking down this word. You got to know that the word coon comes from the word raccoon, which is indigenous to America. And that's why it has a great play on our situation here with our birthright being stolen. So how is it that we started being labeled as coons at a certain part in time? Late 1700s, early 1800s, right? So now we got to make another correlation. We come across a group of people called the Kitty Kadish, the Wichita Indians, a confederation, more or less, same as the other indigenous confederations, right? But the thing about the Wichita Indians is that their name literally means the coon people, the raccoon-eyed people. And their cousins, the Pawnee, labeled them as the bear-eyed people, B-E-A-R, the bear-eyed people. Because we know that a lot of times the raccoon is identified as a wash bear, right? So when the English and Spanish encountered these people that we call now the Wichita Indians, they knew them as the coon people. So amongst their circles, they started labeling these people as coons. Now, as the term got more widely used, it started to be a term to identify all indigenous Black Americans. That's how the term coon, in our opinion and from our research, that's how the term coon eventually spread to be a racial slur to define the indigenous Black Americans, right? I know that may not seem significant, but being the fact that this animal does not exist, that did not exist really outside of America, being the fact that these people called the Wichita Indians already labeled themselves as that, had to give the segue for the English to start using this term to identify so-called Black people. Now, you can go and you can read all the urban dictionary you want in Wikipedia, and them say, well, maybe it comes from the word barracoon, Portuguese, which means like barracks, or jail or something. Come on, man. If that's the case, then the term would have been used to identify so-called Blacks outside of America, right? If that was the case, Wikipedia, then that term would have been used to identify so-called Blacks outside of America. Now, we know that there's a couple of groups that it is used to identify, and that's the Australians and the New Zealanders. So who else is called coon by these folks? The Pacific Islanders, the indigenous Pacific Islanders, the oceanic people, and the so-called Black people in America. And I can't get into how it spread to Australia and New Zealand. I can only atone for here. Because we know that the European, when they started to label these groups, They labeled them based on terms that they used, right? Maybe not necessarily to identify themselves, but they base it off of terms that they use. And that's why we see the same type of tribes all over the United States. We got tribes like the Yuchi here and in Utah. You know how you think Utah got a name? You dig? When dealing with the Wichita, we got the Wassamasaw right now. We got the Washita. We got the Wakama. All of these words pretty much the same word. You dig? So that's just how the European was using these words to define them. Over there with the Wichita people, when you read about them, you also read about the Kiowa. Well, right now where I at in Charleston, we got Kiowa Island. You know, they got the Pawnee, we got the Shawnee. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of correlations how these things tie into each other. And I know a lot of people miss that, but it's power in words. You dig? Just like I said, if somebody walk through a crowd and start yelling nigger, watch how the crowd change. And then come back and tell me that there ain't no power in words. Let somebody walk through the crowd and say coon and tell me that it ain't no power in words. So it would make sense to know where these words come from so that they can affect you less, you know? You always got to remember, we define words. We don't let words define us. At least not right giant. The village, you dig? We're too strong for that. You dig? So that was just a quick little video. And of course, we got some pictures, you know, of these Wichita, these indigenous brothers on here. And I think that, personally, I think that this is where the term coon came to identify the rest of us so-called black Americans, you dig? Because these people identified themselves as the coon people. It got nothing to do with us being bandits. You dig? Or wherever else Wikipedia, Urban Dictionary got to say about the subject. I personally feel like this is the origin of that word. Before y'all go, I want y'all to take the time to check out some of these old racist songs like Zip Coon. Listen at the tune, listen at the fiddle. The song I got playing at the beginning of this video, if they don't flag me and cut this thing out, y'all hearing the song at the beginning, a very common tune you hear on your ice cream trucks. You dig? That's a nigga lover's watermelon, ha ha ha. That song actually came from, most of y'all already know that, but that song actually came from a song called Zip Coon. It was written in 1837. That's where the tune comes from with that fiddle. You hear it in all of the cartoons. You dig? You hear it in your ice cream truck. We call that subliminal blasting. You're messing with your vibrations. When you hear these sounds, you hear these words, subliminally they mess with you. They mess with your psyche, right? So even though, yeah, they say, well, these songs were deemed too racist to continue on, they still kept the same melody and the same rhythm, and the song is still out there. You know, they just changed up some words for you. You dig? So y'all go ahead and check that out. That's a little piece of what we call that racist type history for y'all, boy. You dig? We'll do another term next week or whatever. But peace out. Let me know what y'all think about the origin of the word coon. How you feel about the word coon. You dig? And how you feel about how we tied that word to a group of people already right here in the Americas. Peace out. Holla at your dog, the Ultra Melanite. You dig? Peace.